Hello and welcome, guys. We're back here for round 3. Still waiting on a few of the card images, but we're not going to let that hold us back here. We are looking to move on to a 2-1 finish, hopefully. Try to continue our streak of 4-1s. Been quite fortunate to manage that record a few times here on the channel. Yeah. Y'all know what's going on. We're playing a third TOS, and that's about the only change. I'm just trying to get some reps in with the stock list. So, with that said, let's just jump straight into the match. I'm excited to play some games. Wow. That was a really fast pairing. We would like to be on the play, that's for sure. Another double amulet hand. We've been getting these somewhat frequently. I'm not going to complain, considering we can go turn 1 amulet, turn 2 second amulet, and stirrings to hopefully find a bounce land, and that way we can cast our Titan on turn 3, so I definitely am going to keep this. We're going to lead on Slayer Stronghold here as well, I think. But yeah, because the stirrings can find us a bounce land, I think that this is probably a fine keep. Without the stirrings, I don't know exactly. Our opponent molds to 4, which is quite unfortunate for them. I mean, hey, the game where we have what's basically the nuts, probably a good game to mold a 4 and just see what your opponent is playing and scoop up, to be honest. So, I don't know, though. Maybe they can kill us from 4. Maybe they're playing, like, well, I was going to say maybe they're playing Neoform or something, but clearly that is not the case. I think I'm tempted to just play Stronghold Amulet and the Stirrings and just see what happens from there. We could try to find a bounce land first. Tolaria West is a interesting one. Yeah, I don't know. Between these two, I think I'm more inclined to get the Garenbrig. Although, to be honest, if we take Tolaria West and draw Tolaria West, we can play one of them, and use 2 blue and transmute the other Tolaria West immediately. That might be something to play for. I don't know if there's going to be a big difference. I'll take the Tolaria West, I guess. Since on that very slight off chance we do get to find our bounce land that way. Sacred Foundry. I'm not familiar with very many Sacred Foundry decks that would mold a 4. Dredge. Makes a lot of sense, actually. Silver Smoke Ghoul. What is this one? Well, if they would stop putting triggers on the screen. Interesting. So, they can return this guy to the battlefield if you gain 3 or more life. So that works, I guess, with just Cathartic Reunion. I don't know how much I like this card. Huh. I don't know. Interesting one to include. We can get 2 mana off of this Explorer by using Vesuva Copying Force, so casting it's going to be pretty free. I'm just going to go ahead and cast it now. If we draw a bounce land... that's kind of an awkward one, though. Let's say we get 2 land drops. We can do Garrison and Vesuva Copying Forest, and that'll be 6 mana. So I think we have our Titan lined up here. Let's lead on the Vesuva first. Play our Garrison. And because we play 2 copies... Oh, well, we have one of the Vesuvas in play, which is kind of awkward. Although, to be honest, just getting a Titan to play might be good enough. Unfortunately, we don't have something like a Gemstone Mine to make our mana here. We're still going to pick up the Vesuva, I think, but... And we have to be able to pay for our Summoner's Pact next upkeep, but I think that'll be fine. Let's see what we can get here. Yes. So, we don't have anything that can make a red and a white here. Like, we could get Vesuva copying the Boros Garrison, but that doesn't allow us to use our Slayer Stronghold, so... Instead, I think the play is going to be... Let's see, they have an Ox of Agonist in their graveyard, which I think we would want to get rid of. So we're going to do Bajuka Bog and a green source. Probably Simic Growth Chamber. Actually, we can transmute Talari West and play a Dryad. So if we do Simic Growth Chamber and another bounce in, that's 8 mana, 3 down to use 3 of that down to 5 mana to transmute for it and play a Dryad, leave red-white floating, and play Dryad, and then we can Vesuva copying our Stronghold, so we actually can still haste here. Yeah, that's the line I'm going to go for. It's a little bit convoluted, but we can do it. So, untap these 2, float the mana, do it again. And here we'll pick up, I guess, the Vesuva, and we could pick up and replay the Stronghold instead of just playing a Vesuva copying the Stronghold. I guess that might be better. We want to try to keep as many green sources in play as possible, so are we going to be able to pay for double Summoners Pack? We'll have 4, let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8, probably 8 mana left over after the Primeval Titan trigger if we get a bounce land and something else. And we get to play 1 more land for turn as well, so I think we're good to do this here. We'll use a red, I guess. Doesn't really make a huge difference. Yeah, we just need to make sure we float a red and white here off of this when we cast this Dryad. So we want to use... Okay, they've had enough. Do not blame them. I almost didn't see that line. Alright, let's see. Against Dredge, what do we want? So they could be on either Blood Moon or Magus of the Moon. If I knew they were on Blood Moon specifically, I would be interested in Rex Sage and Force of Vigor, but since I'm not sure which, I probably think that Beast Within is going to be the best play around that. Dismember is unlikely to be relevant except for against specifically Magus, so I think I'll bring in 2 Beast Withins to play around that. A Reclamation Sage is fine as well, since it can also blow up like a Shriekhorn. I was like, what is the name of that card? Shriekhorn, that's the card. Offset Baloth is not awful either, since it blocks literally everything they can put into play, and it gains 4 life to help stabilize against like Narcomoebas and stuff. Although it might be... I might be going a little off plan here. Maybe the actual plan is just to put Primeval Titan into play as fast as possible, but we'll see. We can trim the Explorers for sure. And a Stirrings. I don't know how much we want this Explosives, but being able to blow up a bunch of Narcomoebas could be relevant. Maybe not relevant enough to want Explosives, though. I think I'll cut the Explosives and bring Stirrings back. Yeah, we also might want to trim Summoner's Pact, actually, now I'm thinking about it. Like, trim 1, maybe 2. I think I'll trim 1 and keep 1 Explorer. I think that'll be better than any alternative. We could bring in, like, a Tracker or something, but I'm not really worried about a Surgical Extraction kind of effect right now, so... yeah, we'll submit this way. Admittedly, a lot of times just putting a Bojuka Bog into play is going to be enough to slow them down to the point where we can Titan them, so... Speaking of, we have Natural Bojuka Bog, Amulet, and Dryad. I am a fan of this hand. I'm actually a little cold. I don't know if you can tell based on my pattern of speech or something along those lines. I feel like my jaw's a little tense, because I'm like, ugh. It's a little bit later in the day, so... I wonder if they have the Nature's Claim. Nope. They have Sacred Foundry. You know, I never did stop to consider what they might be playing white, red, and black for instead of the usual green splash. Because they're potentially missing out on Life on the Loam. So we've got our usual Dredge suspects going on over there. We've got a Ghoul. And we're going to be able to get that one back because of the Creeping Chill. So I think here the play is going to be Crumbling Vestige. We'll make a green mana. And we'll go ahead and slam a Dryad here. And then, I don't know if there's a point in getting rid of their graveyard at the moment. I suppose they could, like, say, cast a Haggle and discard a Dredge card, or discard an Ox or something and be able to cast it. And that would be pretty problematic. I don't know if we should be holding this Bog or not. I feel like there's not a lot of downside to playing it, although if we play Garenbrig, we can Titan next turn off of a Sanctuary, but we're going to have 2 land drops next turn anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and Bog them. And if we really have to, we can pick it up with the Selesnya Sanctuary. And that will be that. And we'll pass back. We can block this 3/1 dude with our Dryad. Well, they're kind of going off over there. We'll take our 1. Titan. That's not Titan. Okay. Well, do we make the same play? They have a Prize Amalgam that we could potentially prevent them from getting back. And we're going to be able to do this another turn as well. So I'm going to go ahead and commit to the bouncing and replaying Bog plan. And then we can play our other Dryad and start to try to get this Feel the Dead ball rolling. Do we attack? I think I do. Eat it. Take 2. By life totals, they're winning. And this is why the natural Bojuka Bog just does so much work. Like, being able to pick it up and replay it, and just completely nuke their graveyard several times in a row, especially since we have multiple bounce lands. Like, that's just a lot for them to have to come back from. Although, they keep getting back all their dredgers because what they keep casting is Cathartic Reunion, so we're not actually stopping them from having access to dredge cards. Hardcast Creeping Chill doesn't really bother me here. I'm going to go ahead and play out this Garenbrig. And a bounce land is going to give us a token, so I'll swing. It's actually going to give us 2 tokens. Come on. Attack with all creatures. There we go. It's actually going to give us 2 tokens, I believe, since we have 2 extra land drops. So, there's that. I'm not planning on doing anything with this Bog just yet, so we'll just play it. And we'll see if we can take over this game by virtue of Feel the Dead. There's some argument to picking up a land that isn't Selesnya Sanctuary here, just so that we further our mana, but I think we're going to have plenty of mana, and I'd rather have a bounce land both for the purpose of replaying Bog and also to be able to trigger Field or Valakut, so now we can start making 3 zombies a turn, or we can just cast this guy. I like it. I like it. Here's Titan. And I'm pretty sure they're just dead this turn. They'd have to have 2 removal spells for the Dryad. Yep. Well, that was pretty easy. Natty Bog going ahead and taking the crown here. Yeah, that was a pretty, I would even say pretty standard kind of gameplay against a Dredge deck. I know that they're playing a little bit of a different version, like without the Life from the Loams and stuff, but the only card that we really care that much about, oddly enough, is Narcomoeba, since we can't really block it. So sometimes they can get a really fast clock on. Like, I've had Dredge opponents, like, put, say, 5 power of creatures into play on turn, like, 2, I think? I don't know if they can do it on 1. They might be able to, actually, with Haggle. But yeah, it might have been turn 1, actually, where they were just like, they haggled a Dredge card in their yard, and then flipped over like 5 cards off to the Stinkweed Imp or whatever, and it was like Narcomoeba, Prize Amalgam. And they were like, bash, bash. And then all of a sudden I was at half my life total, and potentially, even if I could stabilize with a Titan, let's assume that I didn't have an Amulet. Under those circumstances, you may not be able to win fast enough with a Titan if they have a Conflagrate, or if they happen to hit multiple Creeping Chills or something like that. And the clock there would obviously be the Narcomoebas, because they represent, flying damage every turn that can just kind of inevitably whittle down your life total if you don't happen to deal with them. But like I said, that's usually pretty corner case. It's difficult to lose to Dredge with Amulet, so not surprised to see that matchup go so smoothly. Of course, we kept a double Amulet hand in game 1 and ended up getting there. And game 2, Natty Bog just does what it does. Alright, well, if you enjoyed this content, leave a like, subscribe, all that stuff. I will get back to you guys real soon with matches 4 and 5. This is Redface Menace, signing off.